I remember the night my body betrayed my vows as if it were branded into my skin. His hands were on me, pressing me against the cold wall of the hotel room we should never have entered. My lips trembled with the taste of guilt even as they parted to welcome him in. Every kiss was heavy, desperate, and wrong, yet I clung to it as if it were air. My wedding ring felt like fire against my skin, a cruel reminder of the man waiting at home, the man who had given me his name, his trust, his forever. And there I was, giving pieces of myself to someone else. Before we dive any deeper into this story, let me pause for a moment. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Your support means more than you know. And to all my new and returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because that is the fuel and energy that keeps this channel alive. Do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments below as soon as the hook finishes. I promise, I read every single one of them. Now, let us continue. My name is Rachel. I am 34 years old, born and raised in North Carolina, and for the past 8 years, I have been married to Daniel. Daniel is the kind of man every woman says she wants but never thinks she will actually get. He is loyal, patient, and steady, my rock in every storm. He is a software engineer, quiet but thoughtful, and the kind of man who buys flowers not because it is Valentine's Day, but because he saw them and thought of me. We built a home together in the suburbs. Picture perfect, at least from the outside. A brick house with a neat lawn, 2 kids tucked into bed by 9, and matching family photos on the walls. People looked at us and saw stability. What they could not see was the void inside me, a hunger I could not explain, a whisper that told me I was alive but not really living. That whisper grew louder when Ethan walked into my life. Ethan was everything Daniel was not. Bold, reckless, charming in a way that made my pulse race. He was a personal trainer at the gym I had recently joined, and at first, he was nothing more than that. But then his compliments lingered. His eyes lingered. His hand brushed against mine one too many times, and instead of stepping back, I leaned into it. I should have seen the danger in the way my stomach fluttered whenever he walked by. But I told myself it was harmless, that I was just flattered. And then came the day he asked if I wanted to grab coffee after my workout. Coffee turned into wine, wine turned into laughter, and laughter turned into a dangerous intimacy that did not belong to us. The first time he touched me outside the gym, it was in the parking lot. He leaned against my car as if he owned it, as if he owned me. His hand brushed a strand of hair from my face, and I froze. Not because I wanted to run, but because I wanted him to do it again. When he finally kissed me, the world tilted, and in that stolen second, I let every boundary I had ever built crumble. We found ourselves in that hotel room weeks later. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst, not from fear, but from the fire coursing through me. Every sound, every touch, every sigh filled me with both ecstasy and dread. I remember digging my nails into his back, silently screaming inside, "Stop, Rachel. You are married." But my body refused to listen. When it was over, I lay there with the sheets tangled around my legs, staring at the ceiling as if it held answers. Ethan's arm draped across me, heavy and warm, but it felt like a chain. For a fleeting moment, I believed I had found something I was missing. But as I slipped my ring back onto my finger, my stomach turned, because deep down I knew, what I had found was a secret that would poison me. I went home that night and kissed my children goodnight. Daniel was asleep on the couch, his glasses slipping down his nose, the television still flickering. I bent down and kissed his forehead. He stirred, smiled in his sleep, and whispered my name. My chest ached with the weight of what I had done. I had crossed the line. And there was no going back. The days after that hotel room blurred into one another. I woke up, packed lunches, dropped the kids off at school, smiled at neighbors, and carried on as if nothing had happened. But inside, I was rotting. Every time Daniel kissed me goodbye in the morning, my chest tightened with guilt. Every time he asked about my day, I wanted to scream the truth just to silence the voices inside my head. But instead, I lied. Small lies at first, harmless excuses about staying late at the gym or running errands. Then bigger ones, like fake work events or a girls' night that never existed. I became an actress in my own marriage, rehearsing my lines so Daniel would never hear the tremor in my voice. Daniel, for a while, seemed oblivious. He laughed at my jokes, helped the kids with homework, and reached for my hand when we watched television at night. But slowly, his eyes began to linger on me longer than usual, as if he was searching for something just beneath the surface. He noticed when I flinched at his touch. He noticed when my phone buzzed and I turned it face down. He noticed when I started sleeping with my back to him. One evening, I walked into the kitchen to find him staring at my phone on the counter. I froze. He was not touching it, but his jaw was tight, and his knuckles white from gripping the edge of the table. "You have been different," he said finally, his voice low but steady. "I do not want to believe what I am thinking." I forced a laugh, brushing past him to pour myself a glass of water. My hands shook so badly the glass almost slipped. "I am just tired, Daniel. You are imagining things." But he was not. He knew something was off. And no matter how many smiles I faked or kisses I forced, the truth was bleeding through the cracks. The turning point came one rainy Friday night. The kids were at Daniel's mother's house for the weekend, and the silence in our home was suffocating. I had told Daniel that I was going out for drinks with coworkers, but Ethan had canceled last minute, and I came home earlier than expected. When I walked through the door, Daniel was sitting at the dining table, his laptop open in front of him. I should have noticed the look on his face immediately, but I was too busy taking off my coat. It was only when he slid a printed sheet of paper across the table that my stomach dropped. It was a hotel receipt. My name was on it. The date and time matched perfectly. My legs gave out, and I collapsed into the chair opposite him. My throat closed up, but no words came. The silence between us was louder than any scream. "How long?" His voice cracked, but he kept his eyes on me, unblinking. I wanted to lie. I wanted to tell him it was one mistake, a drunken accident, anything to lessen the pain in his eyes. But I had lied enough. My hands trembled as I whispered, "A few months." The air left his lungs like a punch. He stood up so fast the chair screeched across the floor. For a moment, I thought he would throw something, hit something, break something. But Daniel was not that man. Instead, he pressed his fists against the table, bowing his head, as if he needed to physically hold himself together. Was it him? His voice was hoarse. "The trainer? Ethan?" Tears blurred my vision. I could not answer, but my silence was the loudest confession of all. Daniel let out a bitter laugh, though there was nothing funny about it. "Do you know how many nights I watched you walk through that door and prayed I was wrong? That my wife, the woman I trusted with everything, would not do this to me?" I broke then. I fell to my knees in front of him, clutching at his hand, but he pulled it away like my touch burned him. "Daniel, I am sorry. I am so sorry. I do not know what is wrong with me. I love you, I swear I do. It just... do not." His voice cut through me. "Do not say you love me. Because right now, I do not even know what that means coming from you." That night, he did not sleep in our bed. He stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling until dawn. I lay in the dark, listening to the sound of his quiet breathing, every rise and fall a reminder that I had broken the man who had done nothing but love me. The next few days were unbearable. He barely spoke to me unless it was about the kids. When he did look at me, his eyes were raw, red, and hollow. I tried to cook his favorite meals, tried to sit close to him on the couch, but every gesture felt like pouring salt into an open wound. Then, one night, he finally broke the silence. "I knew," he said softly, not looking at me. "I knew weeks before I found that receipt. The late nights, the excuses, the way you could not look me in the eye. I kept waiting for you to tell me the truth yourself." His words gutted me. Because it meant that while I was sneaking around, chasing something I thought I needed, my husband was quietly suffering in silence, hoping I would choose him. I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. I wanted to rewind time and undo every mistake. But all I could do was sit there, drowning in the wreckage I had created. Daniel stood, walked toward the door, then turned back. His eyes were wet, but his voice was steady. "You have destroyed me, Rachel. And I do not know if I can ever forgive you. But God help me, I still love you." And then he left the room, leaving me with nothing but the echo of his words. That was the night I realized the truth was no longer a secret. It was out in the open, bleeding between us. He knew. He had always known. And the question that terrified me was not whether he loved me still, because he did, but whether love would be enough to save what I had shattered. The days after Daniel found out were a blur of silence and shattered routines. He moved around the house like a ghost, his eyes dull, his shoulders heavy. He still tucked the kids into bed, still mowed the lawn, still washed the dishes, but every action was mechanical, stripped of the warmth that had once defined him. For me, every moment was agony. Guilt clung to me like a second skin, suffocating and relentless. I tried to apologize in 100 different ways, through tears, through letters I never gave him, through whispered pleas when he turned away from me in bed. But nothing pierced the wall he had built. One night, I found him in the garage, sitting in his car with the engine off, staring at the steering wheel. His face was streaked with tears. It was the first time I had ever seen my husband cry like that. I knocked on the window, and when he rolled it down, I whispered, "Daniel, please. I cannot take this distance anymore." He shook his head, his voice trembling. "Do you have any idea what you have done to me? To us? Every time I close my eyes, I see you with him. I hear you with him. And it kills me. It kills me because I cannot stop loving you, even now." His honesty sliced through me. He was bleeding, and I was the knife that had cut him open. The following weeks were a battlefield. There were nights when he would not come home until late, when I lay awake wondering if this was the moment he would finally decide he was done with me. There were mornings when he would not speak to me at all, his silence colder than any words could be. And yet, there were moments, small, fragile moments, when his love cracked through the pain. Like the night our daughter had a nightmare and Daniel instinctively reached for my hand as we both rushed into her room. Or the afternoon he found me crying in the laundry room, sank to the floor beside me, and just held me, even though his body shook with anger and grief. Those moments kept me breathing. They told me that somewhere beneath the rubble, our marriage still had a heartbeat. Then came the night he finally spoke the words I had been waiting for. We were sitting on the porch, the summer air thick and still. He had been quiet for a long time, sipping his beer, staring at the stars. Then he set the bottle down and turned to me. "I should leave you," he said softly. "Every part of me tells me I would be a fool to stay. You broke my trust. You shattered everything we built. If anyone asked me, I could list 100 reasons why walking away would make sense." My throat tightened, tears welling in my eyes. "Daniel." He lifted his hand, silencing me. His jaw clenched, his eyes wet. "But then I look at you. I look at our kids. I look at the life we made. And I realize something. Love is not just about passion. It is not about feelings that come and go. It is a choice. A brutal, painful choice sometimes. And as much as you hurt me, as much as I hate what you did, I still choose you." The world seemed to stop. My breath hitched, my chest ached, and I felt my heart shatter and heal all at once. "Why?" I whispered. He leaned back, his voice raw. "Because love is not just what you deserve when you are perfect. It is what you give when the other person least deserves it. And Rachel, I do not know how to stop loving you, even if I wanted to." That night, for the first time in months, he pulled me into his arms. It was not the same as before. His touch was hesitant, his kiss trembling, his body rigid with unspoken hurt. But it was real. It was a beginning. I cried against his chest, clinging to him as if letting go would mean losing him forever. I will spend the rest of my life making this right, I promised. And I meant it. Healing did not come overnight. Forgiveness was not a single moment, but 1,000 choices made every day after. There were relapses, nights when Daniel would roll away from me in bed, lost in thoughts I could not reach. There were arguments when anger surged back to the surface, when he reminded me of my betrayal with words sharp enough to cut. But there were also breakthroughs. Nights of honesty, mornings of laughter, moments when love burned through the ashes. I started therapy to understand why I had risked everything. Daniel agreed to counseling, too, even though it was hard for him to open up. Together, we rebuilt piece by piece, learning to be transparent in ways we had never been before. It was not easy. It was not pretty. But it was real. 1 year later, we renewed our vows in our backyard. It was not a grand ceremony, just us, the kids, and a few close friends who had stood by us through the storm. Daniel looked at me as he slid the ring back onto my finger, his voice steady, his eyes fierce. This time, he whispered, I know exactly what I am promising. And I choose you again. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered the same. Because I knew then that love was not about avoiding mistakes. It was about surviving them. It was about choosing each other, even when the world said we should not. I had betrayed him. I had broken the man who loved me most. But Daniel knew the truth. He had seen the ugliest parts of me, the parts one wanted to hide forever. And still, he chose to love me. And that choice, more than anything else, saved us.